All right, good evening, everyone. This is MemphisWeather.net coming to you live as we have severe thunderstorms moving into the metro. This is meteorologist Eric Procius. I've got meteorologist Richard Hosney with me, and also MWN intern Theo Cook is on with us tonight as well. And we are broadcasting live here on YouTube, and we'll be seeing some of you joining here shortly, hopefully, and we're going to be discussing the severe weather event that we have going on right now, or pending as it gets ready to move into the Memphis area. And basically, the setup is a cold front that is moving in from the north. And I hesitate to call it a cold front. As I mentioned in the video earlier, if you watch that, it's more of a dry front than a cold front. We're still going to see 90-degree temperatures heading into tomorrow, but all of this humidity that we've got right now that is just about insufferable is going to be pushing to the south, and will be a lot drier air tomorrow and Tuesday with low 90s. But in the meantime, ahead of that front and some pretty strong winds aloft, we've got a lot of very unstable air in place, and that unstable air is fueling these strong thunderstorms that are now moving into the metro. Current situation also, severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until midnight tonight for the Memphis metro. I do not expect we're going to be seeing storms all the way through midnight in the metro, but that is the watch that we're under does go until midnight. The first round of those storms is starting to move into the metro now, and you can see kind of from the loop that we've got going here, there is one very strong storm that has moved through Jonesboro and is headed to the east-southeast towards the Mississippi River, moving into Tipton County. It is in northern Crittenden County, north of I-40. It is moving into Shelby County here shortly in the area around Shelby Forest. That storm has a history of producing 60-mile-an-hour winds at least, and hail as it is moving towards the metro. We've also got a large cluster of thunderstorms that is now diving through central Arkansas, and Little Rock is pushing to the southeast. It looks like those storms on their current track are going to just miss Tunica County to the south as they continue to move to the southeast. Between those, there is some showers and a few thunderstorms, and that is kind of the gap between those larger storms that is right now kind of aiming for the northwestern part of Mississippi, from DeSoto and Tunica County east from there. However, there is unstable air in front of all of this, and I would not be surprised a bit to see some thunderstorms, perhaps strong ones, kind of fill in that gap. We'll kind of keep an eye on that as we go through the next at least hour or so. So that's kind of the overview right now. As I mentioned, there is a severe thunderstorm warning out for Tipton County, northern Crittenden County, and northern Shelby County, and we're going to take a closer look at that storm, and specifically we're also going to be taking a look at the wind velocities on this, because high wind is the main threat with this storm. So right now it extends from southern Mississippi County, eastern Cross County, down into northern Crittenden County. It is basically right along, the leading edge is along I-55. From south of Joyner down towards Clarkdale in northern Crittenden County, and then some heavier rain extends south from there down towards I-40 in Crittenden County, west of West Memphis. It's down around the Marion area. This is moving to the southeast pretty quickly, and from the wind velocity field that we're looking at on the right-hand side, we've got some very bright blue colors there between Joyner and Turrell, right along I-55, and that is where our highest winds are. Now we're sampling the air about 1,000 feet up from where the radar beam is looking through that storm right now, but at 1,000 feet, we're seeing wind velocities of over 100 miles per hour. Now that wind is not making it all the way to the surface, but we do have a history of wind that is downing trees. It has been measured at almost 60 miles an hour when it was up near Jonesboro, and that high wind is pointing towards the far northwestern part of Shelby County and southern Tipton County on a track that should take it basically kind of right along the Shelby-Tipton line. If you are in southern Tipton County, I say from Gilt Edge down towards Brighton, Atoka, and then and I'll include Drummond's in that as well. Down to northern Shelby County, including Shelby Forest, Millington, Rosemark, the far northern parts of Bartlett, and then east from there. This area is going to get a significant blast of wind out of the northwest, and those winds could exceed 60 miles an hour based on the track of these storms and the severe thunderstorm warning that is out. So that is where that storm is right now. There's a couple other cells down moving into southern Shelby County and Crittenden County. No real concerns with those right now, but we are going to be watching closely this kind of small complex of storms as it moves pretty quickly across the areas I just mentioned. It should be basically all the way to northeastern Shelby County and eastern Tipton County, probably by 7 to 7:15. So in the next 30 minutes is going to be when we're watching this cross northern Shelby County and southern Tipton County. Richard, what are you seeing from your perspective there?
So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and let you see the wide view of this. We do have some two areas of concern. Basically, we have the area that's moving into Crittenden, Tipton, and Shelby County, and we also have the area that is now just southeast of Little Rock, headed towards Stuttgart. Basically, there is some light to moderate rain between those two cells, so there's not a whole lot to worry about. If you're in the Forest City towards DeSoto County right at the moment. So we take a closer look at that, and you can see that the whole entire area over on the right-hand side, that the entire area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight, and you can see the warning overlaid on that map as well. You can see the heaviest rain right now over Mark Tree, Arkansas, and that will continue to push into the southeast as all of this activity basically is moving to the southeast. And like Eric said, there's definite indication that there is some very strong winds up around Mark Tree, and again that will be moving into the into northern Tipton County here in just a minute, just a little bit. Let's see. Apologies. So we'll take a look at the same radar that Eric was using here just a minute ago, the radar in Millington. You can see, 91 knots. Probably getting some pretty heavy rain and pretty strong winds now just east of 55 in Arkansas, moving into western Tipton County and far northern Shelby County. These winds could be in excess of 80 to 90 mile per hour, and we are looking at around 700 to 800 feet above the ground. So that's pretty low, and some pretty good sampling indicating that could actually reach the ground. So folks in southwestern Tipton County as well as northwestern Shelby County rather, need to prepare for some very gusty, damaging winds coming in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Eric?
Yeah, I was just checking a couple of the reports and questions that have come in. So we do have a question about whether the winds will likely stay north of Memphis. And at this point, I would say those strongest winds, the core of the strongest winds, will likely stay just to the north of Memphis, probably just outside the 240 loop, moving across northern Shelby County. So that's our concern right now, and I can't rule out additional storms forming and becoming strong as well. But for right now, what we see on radar is likely going to affect northern Shelby County imminently, starting in the Shelby Forest area, moving east into Millington, and probably the southern half, at least, of Crittenden County. So, I'm sorry, not Crittenden County, Tipton County. So this wind shift is moving towards Drummond's right now, very close to that, and it's going to be moving towards the Highway 51 corridor, Atoka, Brighton, and maybe as far north as Covington here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Those winds will shift. the strongest core of those winds, once again, looks to kind of ride right along the Shelby-Tipton line. Probably pretty close to Millington. If you're in the Millington area, Millington to Atoka, I would definitely recommend that you brace for strong winds there. For those of you that are in other areas and have just a little bit more time, make sure that you are preparing for the possibility of high winds by taking one last minute to pull in anything outdoors that you don't want to lose and is not tied down. As soon as you start hearing some thunder, your pools need to be evacuated. And I would also stick those devices on the charger right now. And just in case we get some power outages with this kind of wind, I do expect that we will see some power outages across the area. So you should be preparing for that as well. Theo, are you seeing any other, what kind of reports are you seeing out there, if any?
Not too many. We do have a report of a down tree in Mark Tree area. The public just reported that. Other than that, there's not too many reports. A couple reports of about 60-mile-an-hour winds. But yeah, just going to keep y'all updated about that.
All right, great. I did see just a little bit ago that it appears that the I-55 traffic up around Joyner was stopped as these storms move through. So that'll give you an idea. I'm sure that the traffic was not stopped because of highway patrol stopping it. My guess is the rain is just so torrential and the wind is so strong that it literally was just not safe to drive in, and so people were pulling off. But that is just past the I-55 area now, and moving into the far northwestern corner of Shelby County. And it's kind of where the river takes a couple of bends up there. We've got a little peninsula of Shelby County that sticks out into Arkansas there, and that's where these storms are. And basically crossing the Mississippi River now and moving into Shelby Forest, Millington, Drummonds, those areas on the far west and northwest portion of the metro.
Weather Service now saying they're seeing winds around 80 knots. That's about 90 miles an hour at 1,300 feet in Mississippi County, Arkansas, and damaging winds threat will continue. So that's the area that's moving into northwestern Shelby County and southwestern Tipton County. And folks in Millington, Rosemark, Atoka, those areas need to prepare for damaging winds here in the next 5-10 minutes.
I will say, as I see this kind of loop through, if I go past the last few frames, that core of the strongest winds. Now I know the radar is sampling it lower and lower as it gets closer to the radar beam, but those winds are diminishing from what they were, say, up around Mark Tree, where we're seeing close over 100-mile-an-hour winds. Now that was up at about 2,400 feet or so, and it's much lower that those winds are being sampled. So I'm not necessarily saying for sure that those winds are dying off any. They're still very, very strong, but they're not as strong on radar as they were before. And again, I think that has to do with the fact that we're only looking up several hundred feet rather than a couple of thousand feet, and the winds are naturally very stronger aloft because of the lack of friction and getting into the core of the storm. So it's not totally unexpected. I would not take that to mean an all clear or anything by any means. The Weather Service says that the threat of damaging winds continues, and so it is certainly a strong storm. I want to switch this over real quick to our hail indicator and see if there's anything there. I'm not seeing anything, but it's sure it's right.
It looks like it's still downloading. Yeah, still downloading.
Yeah. We'll give that just a minute here.
We do have a question asking what the weather is going to be like in Horn Lake. So take a look here, if you don't mind. So there is a cell moving through Horn Lake and into South Haven right now. There doesn't appear to be any strong winds associated with it. Could see a gust or two, but nothing life-threatening at the moment. There will be some lightning associated with that, and looks like this is going to stay mainly north of DeSoto County. It'll eventually move into Fayette County and possibly northern Marshall County, but the bulk of this will stay north of DeSoto County.
And while you're mentioning DeSoto County and Horn Lake, the South Haven area, I know that there is a concert at Bank Plus Amphitheater tonight in 20 minutes in South Haven. There is a thunderstorm moving overhead just about there now. Richard, you could probably have better eyes on that than I do, but it does look like there could be very heavy rain at the least, and maybe a little bit of very small hail. Probably not too much hail in that, but there's definitely very strong, heavy rain that's moving into the South Haven area now. It looks like that may continue for maybe another 30 to 45 minutes because there's another little storm back south of West Memphis that's kind of moving to the southeast that could graze them there as well. So rain expected down there at the amphitheater if you are down in that area for the next 30, 45 minutes, but nothing severe at the moment.
And it looks like the Weather Service has canceled the warning for portions of Arkansas, but not Crittenden County. So the severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for Crittenden, Shelby, and Tipton County until 7 p.m. Current time is 6:39 p.m. And this warning is going to continue to move to the southeast with the threat for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and 1-inch hail. That's going to affect looks like the Millington area.
Yep.
I was just going to say,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
it's going to affect the Millington area, Munford, Brighton, Ellendale, even up towards Bartlett, and eventually Arlington and Lakeland.
So I'm seeing a couple of reports coming in. One of them is showing here on the screen, and this is going to be just southeast of Turl, and that is trees uprooted or snapped. So we've got some tree damage, and that is right under where the most likely area for hail is. The hail does not appear to be large in that area. It should be less than severe, less than in 1 inch, but the area east of I-55 in northeast Crittenden County could have some hail in it, and that is headed also towards Millington, Bartlett, Fraser, the Shelby Forest area. The other report I'm seeing is coming from 5 miles northwest of Millington. So I have to assume this is on kind of the leading edge of this storm, and that is trees 3 feet wide, large limbs are down. So fairly significant wind damage starting to come in as this storm moves through. All of you that are under this warning in northern Shelby County, if you are north of the I-240 loop, up through all the way over to Arlington, and then this extends east into the Cordova area, and also all of Tipton County, but in particular the southern half, you need to be preparing right now for the possibility of high winds coming in, trees down, possibly damage to branches, and for the possibility of power outages. And that would include my area. That storm is pointing directly at me as well, so I'm going to cross my fingers and hope things continue here. But I'm also going to make sure that things are taken care of here.
So I'm going to take a look real quick, closer in look at this storm. You can see on the right is the precipitation product. On the left is the precipitation product. On the right is the wind, and at around 300 to 400 feet above radar level, we have up to looks like maybe 90 mile per hour winds moving right into the Millington area. So if you're in the Millington area, be aware that there are some very strong winds. Basically going to go right over the Millington Airport and over towards Rosemark. Is prepare for damaging winds. Don't go outside now to tie things down because it's a little too late. Some very strong winds moving in, and be prepared for flying debris if you're out and about.
Couple of questions that I see here. One is a question asking about what are the main risks, and for these storms, they are going to be high wind primarily, large hail possible as well. Right now, the hail threat coming into Shelby County is not significant, though small hail is certainly possible, and especially in this large storm that's moving into northern Shelby County. And then we have a question about a gap in the line on radar that looked like it would be where Memphis is. True or false? And so, yes, kind of. There is a gap. I'll back this out a little bit, and we can see that a little better. Now, that gap is filling in a little bit. There are a couple of storms that have popped up. One down right near Memphis International Airport over the Whitehaven area. One to the west of downtown, moving to the southeast. So I think most of Shelby County is going to get some storms, although the strongest part of this looks to go over northern Shelby County. The gap right now between that and the storms that are back to the southwest is going to be kind of an area that would move or pass over southern DeSoto into Tunica and Tate counties. So kind of that area right between those storms right now is where that gap is. Once again, I would not be surprised if that starts to fill in, just like it has over the southern part of Shelby County, where heavy rain and some gusty winds, but not severe at this point, probably anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour or so, are possible as it moves across southern Shelby County in the next little bit. And I'm getting a little bit of a power flash here. It looks like it's dark outside, so I have had the shelf cloud move over me. The gust front is here. And I'll pass it back. Theo, are you seeing any reports on our social media?
Yes, on the same spot that you were talking about near Turl with the trees snapped, there's actually been a report of a roof blown off in that area, as well as entire trees uprooted in that area. And then another report in Painway, an entire tree has been snapped. Pretty big tree.
I see that picture that you've
And to
tweeted
add,
out. Yep.
looks like there's a semi truck on its side on 55 in that's going to be Mississippi County.
It's probably where the traffic was reported to have about stopped. That was near Joyner, far southern Mississippi County, and that's the portion of the storm where that core of heavy winds moved across that is now moving into the Millington area. And to Richard's point earlier, it does look like those strong winds are very near the surface. I'm seeing 50 to 60 mile an hour winds or higher, just a couple hundred feet off the ground, moving into the Millington, right near that 51 corridor, and moving towards North Bartlett, Rosemark, those areas. And I'm going to take a peek here because we got really strong winds right outside too.
It looks like we've got some pretty strong winds right over Rosemark as well as over Millington. Those storms are, again, moving to the southeast. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northeastern Shelby, northern Crittenden, as well as Tipton County until 7 p.m. Expect a 70 mile per hour wind gust and 1 inch hail. So we're going to switch it back to the radar. I would expect to see another severe thunderstorm added here in just a little bit, probably for Fayette as well as Haywood County. So we're going to continue to watch this as it moves in. Some very strong winds, though, associated with this one particular cell. It is going to stay north of 240 and north of South Haven, north of DeSoto County, but it is going to move into Fayette County. Got a question on here. Are the winds going to be as strong as when it gets into Fayette County? That's really tough to say. It does have the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds now, and that does look like that will be likely to Fayette County. We're going to continue to watch this and see if it actually, we are going to have the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds as it moves into Bartlett area as well as the Eads and into Fayette County, Oakland, Somerville, probably in the next 30 minutes. Look out your door.
Yeah, well, I just looked out the back door, and we've had stuff tossed all around in the backyard that was secured to the ground. Looks like one small tree, small landscaping tree, has been uprooted. I've got measured gust to 38, but my anemometer is likely not picking up the strongest wind. I think it's at least close to 50 here, and that is with the outflow boundary, the leading edge of these storms that just crossed here. You can really hear the wind up above just howling as it moves over, and that is not the strongest winds associated with the storm. It's not even raining here yet. That is just the outflow boundary, and that is going to be moving across all of Shelby County as it moves to the southeast. Very strong outflow. My power is now flashing. I've got a UPS on the computer. We'll see how long I stick with you.
We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 7:30 p.m. for Crittenden, DeSoto, Marshall, Fayette, Shelby, and Tipton County. Expecting 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and 3/4-inch hail. And there's my notification from Stormwatch Plus. Works as expected.
Yeah, good. So there's the, I've got on the right-hand side of the screen here is the wind velocity. So you can see where the red kind of pushes out the leading edge of that. And that is the outflow boundary. It is out ahead of the precipitation. There's no precipitation in that area. And I'm about to go dark here. I think I'm on UPS. Anyway, that's where the outflow is, and the strongest winds now, the core of the winds moving into Millington and east across the 385 corridor in northern Shelby County behind that outflow. Very strong winds. These are easily gusting to 50 miles an hour. And I would expect they're probably a little stronger than that in the Millington area and headed into from the Shelby Forest area underneath the core of that thunderstorm. You want to take that new warning and discuss that one, Richard?
Yeah, I'm trying to type it up so we can have it in the, in the graphic here in the lower third.
Theo, if you will make sure that that's posted out to social media, and let's get a radar update out as well when you get a second. It looks like there's one.
Oh, I just had a power flash here in DeSoto County. We do have a question, and it does say how quickly is this storm going to move through South Haven, and I think that was in regards to maybe the concert going on at the Bank Plus Amphitheater.
Yeah, in South Haven, it looks like you're getting, you're getting some heavy rain right now. That should move past probably in the next 30 minutes or less, and I don't see too much behind that right now. So probably in the next 30 minutes or so, less. All right.
So this thunderstorm is moving to the southeast at 55 miles per hour. We're expecting 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and 3/4-inch hail.
And the rain has just gotten here. It is sideways into our windows here. And fortunately, the power keeps coming back, so that's good.
I did hear that in the background and was wondering what that was.
That's sheets of rain hitting the window that's probably 7 or 8 feet away from me, so I'm not sitting right next to it.
All right, so we're going to go back to my radar here. Talk a little bit more about this warning. Yeah. So you can see the extent of this warning in Fayette County, far northeastern DeSoto County, as well as southern Marshall County and most of Shelby County. Sorry, I'm trying to click on one thing and move the radar, and it's not working. So this is moving into Arlington as we speak. Arlington, if you've got any storm reports, be sure to include them in the YouTube stream. We can pull them right up from there. Some really strong winds, though, moving into Arlington, moving through Arlington right now into Galloway, Brooklyn, Somerville. Those will be basically the strong through northwestern Fayette County, and eventually it looks like the heaviest of the winds will miss most of DeSoto County as well as most of Marshall County, but we can't rule out up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts there if the area around Bartlett and Cordova begins to gust out like it is right now. Still some pretty strong winds behind the main push of this, moving through Millington at the moment. Can you see, Eric, if there is any report from Millington?
I'll check on it. I can tell you that the Millington NexRad radar that we use as our primary just went down. The Millington radar is down, so we will have to switch to adjacent radars to be able to get you this information, because the ones that we're using right now, we're not going to get another update on for the time being. Let me see if I can find what's going on in Millington. And I've been out of power for a few minutes, so at some point I'm going to have to back off here and go get off UPS. It won't last very long. I'm going to put
So I am switched to. Luckily, we do have another in DeSoto County right at the way station, TMM radar, terminal Doppler radar. It doesn't see as well through the rain as the one in Millington does, but we do have the ability to see finer details with this. And looking right now, we are seeing a pretty good push of wind moving through the southeastern leg of 240, moving into Germantown and eventually Collierville. Should be affecting the Memphis airport here in the next little bit. So pretty strong, pretty heavy rain rather, going over south central Shelby County, just east of the airport. Again, some pretty strong winds moving into the Cordova area and eventually the Germantown area here in the next 5 minutes. So we can continue to watch this move in and switch it over to a wider view and let you see exactly what's going on. So we do have the cluster moving through Millington right now. You can see the area over on the right-hand side that we are talking about. This is under the severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. Those areas in orange on the top right, those areas are under severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. That's the southeasternmost one. Expect 70 mile per hour wind gust and 3/4 inch hail with those storms. The radar.
All right.
Tell you what,
And
we'll
that core is moving. That core is moving over my place on the north side of Bartlett now. The rain is going sideways. I've had a wind gust measured to 47 miles an hour, but I think they're pretty easily getting close to 60 because all of the tops of the large mature oak trees are bending way down. I've got debris flying out of the trees all over the place, and it looks like from a power outage perspective, there is at least 12,000 without power in Shelby County right now. Mostly, that number just jumped to 31,000, as most of northern Shelby County has a lot of orange and red on the map, on the outage map. So 31,000. That changed in the last 3 minutes from 12,000 to 31,000.
Wow.
I'm getting a lot more reports of damage as well. Someone in Tipton County said their power's out, tree down. Cabot, Arkansas, I guess is how you pronounce it. There's a tree down in their yard. People are saying they're reporting 50, 55 mile an hour winds. It looks like there's another semi down in Joyner. That may have been the same one you're talking about, but I just got that one in. And then I also am getting reports of emergency management. And Wilson is saying trees across railroads. So there's quite a few trees down with the growing theme and also the power going out.
And to add to that, it looks like there's a tree on a house trailer in Joyner, Arkansas, with no injuries, thankfully. So, zoom out just a little bit. Let you see. The county, you are getting some moderate to heavy rain here in the Thunder here in South Haven. If you're out at the amphitheater, that area, let's take a quicker look at that. So here's Silo Square, Snowden Grove. So there is some moderate to heavy rain to your north moving out. Look, you are, while you're not in the clear, you are in just some light rain. If there is some thunder around, some lightning around, be aware of that. There is a little bit more moving in from western DeSoto County, but that is pretty light at the moment. The heaviest part of this is actually right in the main central part of Shelby County. Let's shift a little south, and we can see some cells along Tate County, basically along and north of Highway 4. There are a few cells over in Tunica County. Those aren't really strong. There is some lightning associated with that, but the heaviest right now is moving through Shelby County. We can see some gusty winds. If you look over here on the right hand side, there are some pretty gusty winds moving into the Germantown area and eventually Collierville. This is moving to the and southeast. You can see right there on the southeastern leg of 2-4. See that just updated. This is some outflow from this storm. So that is moving to the south. So if you're in the Germantown area, you'll be rain. And reporting, let's see, power out in Cordova. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, there are quite a few places in Shelby County right now that are without power. I think he said 31,000. Let's take a wider view real quick. So you can see the radar on the right, radar on the left, and the watch warning map on the right. The entire area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings. Those are the orange and the yellow boxes on the radar map until 7:30 p.m. And that is for Shelby County, most of Fayette County, northern Marshall County, and far northeastern DeSoto County. Those warnings, we could have 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and 3/4-inch hail with all of those. We do see the Weather Service now is reporting possible 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds in Bartlett. That's where Eric is. And all of these storms are moving to the southeast. There is some pretty heavy cells moving through Stuttgart, and that'll continue to move towards the Delta, so south of Clarksdale over towards Cleveland, Greenville. Looks like most of this is actually missing most of DeSoto as well as most of Tunica County. We will get some moderate to heavy rain for these areas in West Mississippi, but as far as the head is occurring in Shelby County, along with the damaging winds, and that will be moving winds right now, moving out of Billington and moving into Arlington. So Sarah just refreshed the map, and it looks like 61,000 people are without power that have MLGNW. That is wild. There is a lot of people without power right now in Shelby County. 61,000. Thank you for that report, Sarah. Theo, do you have any reports?
I don't think I have any new ones. Just a lot of trees. Let's see. Fletcher Creek. 1-inch tree limbs broken. A few shingles are lost off of the roof. It looks like parts of Arkansas. I know I saw a tweet that there were a couple cars flipped, but I think that was closer to the Little Rock metro area, as there were up to 80-mile-an-hour winds with that storm. So yeah, lots of trees down, and then the power outages are spiking up pretty quickly.
Yeah, Just got a report that there was 61,000 people without power for MLGNW. This continues to move to the southeast. The heaviest of the rain is moving through basically eastern Shelby County now. Heavier rain over Bartlett, Cordova, Germantown, and we'll be moving into Collierville here in the next little bit. The strongest winds right now, there are some strong winds over Bartlett, as well as some strong winds pushing into southeastern Shelby County. So if you're along, see, this is Winchester here, and obviously is 72, and those areas basically far southeastern Shelby County. Be ready for some gusty winds moving in. This is reporting anywhere from looks like 20 to 30 winds. If you're seeing any of those stronger wind gusts, let us know. Just comment in the YouTube channel here in the chat, and we can get that and put it on screen for you. Do have a report from Ella saying they lost power in Oakland, Tennessee. Surprising. The older warning that so it's after 7 o'clock now, 7:04. So the other warning that was over Crittenden expire. Very small portion of Crittenden County still in the warning. Looks like most of that is actually to your east now. Tipton, most of that is out of Tipton County. The bulk of this is obviously in Shelby County, moving to the southeast. There are some stronger cells now starting to pop up over northwestern Marshall County. Some light to moderate rain across eastern DeSoto County, basically along Craft Road down to 305 and through Olive Branch. So there are some stronger cells there, and it looks like a stronger cell right on the county border just west of, east of. Not seeing much in the way of strong winds with these storms over Marshall County at the moment, but we do see some strong winds. County Collierville, if you're in those areas in southeastern Shelby County, be aware that there could be some damaging winds, some items displaced, trash cans moved, that sort of thing, and those will continue to move to the southeast and eventually into far north county as well as northwestern Marshall County. Let's see what the weather radar is still down. Not exactly seeing anything there. Again, if you've got comments, post them in the chat here on the YouTube channel, and we'll. Let's see. James says power is down in South Millington. Tops of trees falling down. The sky is being really noisy. A lot of lightning. A lot of heavy, strong winds moving through Millington, and has moved through Millington. Luckily, this is on the back side of this. I don't see anything else. Let me switch over to a wider view real quick. And that is going to be this one here. So we can see that this is pretty much it. There are some lighter cells just to the northwest of this main area, but obviously moving through Shelby County right now, we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby, Tipton, Fayette, northeastern DeSoto County, and northern Marshall County until 7:30. Expect 70 quarter-inch hail. Let's see. So this may be the only little bit. So if you're worried about what this is actually going to do, if this is the big thing, it is the big push of all of this. Looks like most of DeSoto County, most of Tunica County will be spared. Again, we do have the indication that there are some small cells being across Tate County thanks to outflow from these storms, and those cells are actually getting a little stronger. So let me put on probably some small hail falling with this storm moving through Cordova and Germantown. Yes. Yep. Germantown Road, and let me put on the echo tops here. Pretty tall storms right now over eastern Shelby County. Let's see if Eric is back. Eric, are you?
Richard, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, great. I'm in the dark, but I do have a laptop that has a pretty good amount of battery on it, so I'm somewhat limited in what I'm able to do. But I do have access to the Weather Service and what they're reporting. And I can see all of you guys that have questions and comments and so forth as well. So appreciate those who are sticking with us. And maybe you are watching on your phone in a dark room right now, as I am. But we're glad that you're joining us, and hopefully this is helpful to you. We are seeing a couple of reports I'll mention. Maybe these have already been mentioned, but just to recap a little bit as what's coming to you if you're southeast of this storm. We do have measured wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour in Bartlett. We also have a couple other reports of 60 to 65 miles an hour. Power lines down and irrigation pivots blown over north of Mark Tree. That would be in Arkansas before it crossed the river. Dime-sized hail falling in the storm in Kennett. Now that's way up in the Missouri Boot Heel. And for those of you who are in Phillips, southwestern Tunica, Coahoma counties, we have a new warning coming out for you here shortly. But as this storm moves through, this is pretty much going to be the main event for the Memphis area. So if you are on the back side of this, things are improving, hopefully, and you will start to see that wind die down, the rain let up a little bit, and hopefully you can get out and take care of anything that needs to be immediately taken care of. But we know that there are a lot of power outages. Please don't get around any places where there are trees down, where there are power lines down. Avoid all of that. You can call that in to MLGW, and I will have those numbers for you here in a minute. But report those things as necessary. If you're seeing sparks coming out of power lines or transformers, you can go ahead and call your local authorities in your area, the police or fire, to make them aware of that. Eventually, that will have to go to the power provider, but just avoid areas where there is damage. If there's trees down across the road and so forth, just avoid those areas right now.
It looks like there is some damage being reported along Egypt Central in the Bartlett area. I'm sure you're familiar with that, but there is
Yes.
a tree down, a big tree down. It's on our Twitter. Got mentioned picture of a pretty large tree down. Luckily, it's doesn't look like it's actually on someone's house. So that's good news. Here's the MLGNW map. So there are currently 87,000 people, MLGNW customers without power right now. And you can see the areas right over Bartlett and up towards Lakeland and Arlington. Outages obviously in Millington as well. But the bulk of that over the Bartlett, down to Cordova, and even down Germantown Road to Germantown. That's where the bulk of the power outages are. Theo, are you working on sending out that warning for us?
Yes, sir. I just got that in.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so we'll switch back to the radar and show you what all's happening. So let me zoom out and let's look at the new warning, Tunica. So it just barely eclipses the southwestern portion of Tunica County, and that is for thunderstorm warning until 8 p.m. and 70 mile per hour wind gust and quarter size hail. And unfortunately, the radar does not extend that far out. Let's see. There we go. So we can see that there is some pretty strong winds moving in, pretty strong storms rather, moving into Fayette County, Phillips County in the Marvel, Arkansas area, and eventually the Helena, West Helena area, and south of Tunica. We are watching some cells in Tate County, moving into Independence and east or western Marshall County, and just had another power flash here. And we can see the bulk of the heavy heavy rain as well as strong winds now located across eastern Shelby County as well as western Fayette County in the Eads area. That looks like a pretty good chance for 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in the Eads area, and same over into Fayette County along 4. So if you're in the Eads, Oakland, Somerville area, could see 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, storms that are moving through, and southern Shelby County. So we were watching this area. You can see on the right here, we can see a depiction of the winds. So these winds are now moving, these gusty winds are now moving into Olive Branch as far and far northwestern Marshall County. And this is moving to the south, not really associated with the stronger winds, but we can see some pretty gusty winds displacing garbage cans, loosely rooted trees, things like that that are potential moving into, again, potential damaging winds moving into northeastern Marshall County. Some pretty strong winds moving into Fayette County as well. Again, like I said, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Weather Service thinks that they could see up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with that. So we are taking caution and alerting you, again, severe thunderstorm warning in the area located in yellow until 7:30 p.m. It is currently 7:14 p.m. and we are expecting 70 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter size, 3/4 inch hail. With the thing on chat.
Yeah, I was just looking. A couple new reports came in. One specifically in the Lakeland area. This would be along I-40 near exit 20. So that's right out in the Lakeland area. Part of the roof blown off of a building near exit 20 in along I-40 Lakeland area, and also numerous trees down right along I-40 near that mile marker 20. Including one on a vehicle there. So this has moved through the I-40 area in northeastern Shelby County and is obviously moving much farther to the southeast into the southern part of the metro at this point. That's the only report I'm seeing right now.
Okay, thank you. So we do have that showing up on radar here and right on I-40 in Lakeland, showing numerous trees down on I-40 near mile marker 20 and a tree on a car, as Eric mentioned. This is all moving to the southeast, and it's moving into southwestern Fayette County. It's basically from Eads down to Collierville is the heaviest rain right now, but the strongest winds are actually over in Fayette County, and you can see those here on the right. Basically, and along what is this, 76 down to Moscow and moving out of the Arlington area. Some pretty strong winds moving out of Arlington into the Hickory With area. So if you're in western Fayette County, be aware that you will get some damaging winds with all of these storms that are moving through. Let's take a look again at the MLG&W because we've got another report here.
Yeah, I think it's over. It's at 114,000 now. 114,000 customers without power. A lot of red across Bartlett, Cordova, Germantown, Arlington, and orange for pretty much everything except about the southern fourth of Shelby County. Significant.
A lot of people. That is nearly 73% with power. So that's like, I can't do math. 23%, something like that.
27% of the, so more than a fourth of the customers in Shelby County are now without power. And so we're talking about, this is probably 250,000 people right now without power in Shelby County. And with this widespread of outages, I hope you guys are not expecting to get your power back anytime soon. Some of us will be lucky. Some are going to take days. This is a summer storm that I think It is, mark the calendar, June 25th, 2023, and I think this is one of those that we're going to be remembering for some time. Just one massive storm that came across the county.
A lot of people out of power. So we do still have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 17. You can see the wider view here. .net radar that we can see all of this moving to the southeast. And last report, I think it was moving to the southeast at around. Let's take a closer look here at the radar again. Let me back out just a little bit. So pretty much in the clear. There is some light to moderate rain across the county, especially the eastern part of the county. I doubt that there is. It still sounds like there is some thunder around. So I believe the concert at the Bank Plus Theater will go on here in the next little bit, but probably some lightning still around, prompting a little bit of a delay out there. But this looks like it will part of all of this, so not expecting anything behind this. So again, most of DeSoto County is clear. Eastern portion of DeSoto, including Olive Branch and portions of Highway 78. Tate County, you've got some, let's see here, some moderate to heavy rain in the area, and this moving, yeah, it's moving to the east, southeast. Should get some moderate to heavy rain. Not expecting anything as far as strong winds, although I am seeing a little bit. Most of Tunica County, most of northern Tunica County is in the clear. South of Tunica, south of Highway 4, there is some strong storms there. Not really seeing anything in the way of strong winds, though. Marshall County. So let's take a look at Marshall County. So moving into Holly Springs here in the next little bit, we'll see some moderate to heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds with this. Like the radar is showing 25 knots, so we're looking at like 35, 40 mile per hour winds possible moving into Holly Springs here in the next little bit. And my
like
attention
warning
got
just came
distracted here for just a moment.
Okay, that warning is outside of our area. It's got part of Marshall County in it, but this is mostly probably southern Fayette and Marshall County. Let's see if I can get access to the warning here real quick.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be just this main area that's moving to the southeast. So I imagine it's going to cover far southeastern Fayette County into Hardeman and portions of Marshall County, if I had to guess. There it is.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, so it's the southeastern quarter of Fayette County. So, and then the northern part of Marshall County. It looks like areas in Marshall County north of I-22.
Yeah, it looks like it's
going to be included in that as well.
Yeah, it looks like it splits Holly Springs in half, basically along, and like you're saying, along I-22 rather. So Mount Pleasant in that warning, and that goes until 8 p.m. Current time 70 mile per hour. And is that correct? It says it's moving southeast at 75 miles per hour. That's what it says in the warning.
Holy cow.
The previous warning had 55 mile per hour to the southeast. Now, the Weather Service saying 75. The movement is 75 miles per hour to the southeast. I guess that's why this warning is stretched out than the previous warning.
Yeah, that does extend a ways downstream, and that storm is it's definitely moving pretty quickly. So here on the back side of it, the wind is the rain is pretty much stopped here. Wind has kind of shifted back to the south. It shifted to the northwest with that big outflow. It's back to the south at about 10 miles an hour. Starting to see the sky lightening up quite a bit here on the north side of Bartlett. So we're definitely on the back side of it as it continues to move now mostly into Fayette County, it appears, and headed into Marshall County. It looks like maybe Tate County is also getting some of the storms, but no warning down there as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it looks like some moderate to heavy rain. Just some moderate to heavy rain moving into Holly Springs, but the heavier rain and the gusty winds, damaging winds, rather, contained in Fayette County, maybe slightly northeasterly portions of Mount Pleasant, those areas. But if you're in Moscow, Williston, Somerville, those areas, there is some pretty strong winds associated with this storm that is moving through. Could see 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this storm as it continues to move through. And looking back to the west, Crittenden County is pretty much in the clear. There is north of Turrell, south of Joyner, and that is nothing to be concerned about. Tipton County pretty much still are in the warning that is in effect until 7:30. Most of Shelby County, western Shelby County, downtown are in the clear. Again, you still have that warning until 7:30. But eastern Shelby County and into Fayette County and northern Marshall County, that's where the action is happening right now. And service saying moving to the southeast at 55 miles per hour. And this is a report from Brownsville, show 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in Brownsville, Tennessee. And reporting numerous trees down across north Bartlett. National Weather Service employee in Bartlett. I have a good idea who that is.
I also just got a report of apparently the roof on an Exxon has been blown off on I-40 at exit 20.
Okay, that's the Lakeland area again. Sounds like they took it real hard right up there.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
So I checked a couple of the official reports. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Richard.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Officially, report from Millington as that storm went over, measured 53-mile-an-hour wind gust. It looks like Memphis International, their peak wind there was 39 miles per hour. And fueling all that today was a high of 95 degrees at the airport with dew points that were in the mid to upper 70s. So that's the storm fuel we were talking about that was going to just really power these storms. If you happen to be underneath one, it was going to be a doozy, and that is appears to be what we got because we're sitting with well over 100,000 MLGW customers without power. I would guess there's probably quite a few across North Mississippi, although the strongest winds were north of the state line. But was hoping that as that line was coming in, that big storm was going to pass to the north of us, and we might get in that little gap between the storms. But that was not to be. It came right over the top of us.
So if you've got questions in the comments section on the YouTube video, and we can get those overlaid. So looks like right now we are at 100,000 customers, MLG and W customers without power. And most of that located Bartlett, Cordova to Germantown, and then along I-40 from Bartlett up to Lakeland. Basically where the coverage map stops is just on the east side of Arlington. It's pretty strong winds leading to a lot of power outages, over 116,000 people, customers, MLG and W customers without power. Let's see if I can pull up the Entergy website.
Yeah, I was gonna say that probably extends into Fayette County quite a bit as well. I'm sure their numbers will be pretty high for a lower populated county. It'll still probably be a lot.
I would imagine. Look at Is it Northeast Electric?
I believe that's right.
So the Entergy doesn't show that many people, hardly any people without power, just a few. Showing 8 customers without power. That's nothing. And then Olive Branch, that's a Northeastern Electric. So we're going to take a look here in just a minute.
And while you're checking that, Millington Fire is tweeted out that they have reports of heavy wind damage in Millington and northern Shelby County. Numerous roads are closed due to downed trees, and they are working 2 structure fires and assessing damage with EMA. So Millington has got, just be careful out there. You're going to see a lot of trees down across roads. Obviously, stay away from any down power lines that might be out there. And I would recommend that you let the folks in these areas that are dealing with some of this, let them try and deal with it rather than if you didn't get hit hard, getting out in your car and driving around at this point just to see what happened. We need to be able to get the proper authorities in, let MLGW get out and start assessing damage.
Sorry, trying to pull up the outage map here. Looks like there is some power out. So, 13 people out of power in Byhalia along Highway 78. So we're going to zoom back out. Thankfully that's it for right now. Not too bad.
That's good. That's good now. Good to know.
Now, I've got a report that the sun, that is probably the case. The sun is popping back out in western portions of the area.
Yep, and I can start to see that a little bit here too. The low clouds are scattered out and looking better.
That's good. There we go.
Have a little bit of daylight before the sun sets, but a lot of us are going to be waking up tomorrow morning, and perhaps for a few mornings after that, with darkness in the house. So, Richard, I'm seeing Weather Services discussing the storms that are heading into North Mississippi. I'm going to assume that this is moving into Marshall County. They're seeing 70 knots off of the Team Mem radar down there. So still a high wind threat as that system moves down into from Fayette down into Marshall County.
Yeah, it looks like it's the strongest winds are actually moving east of Sladen, moving into Michigan City, southern, far southeastern Fayette County, along Highway 7. Is it 7? Yeah. No. 72. Yeah, Highway 7 goes through Michigan City. So we're seeing some really strong winds just east of Moscow, heading over to Michigan City and Benton County. Some strong winds also in Sladen, but not as strong as the outflow-associated winds that are pushing now into northern Benton County. Northern Marshall County, I do see some outflow there, moving into the Red Banks area. Not as strong as what's on the eastern side of this storm, moving into Benton County. So thankfully that is good news. But Holly Springs, Red Banks, you could see some gusty winds from the north here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But some really gusty winds, damaging winds rather, over northern Benton County as well as far southeastern Fayette County, moving in the Grand Junction area. So if you're in the Grand Junction area, just be aware that there is some damaging winds. Looks like up to 70 mile per hour winds moving into the Grand Junction, Michigan City area over in southeastern Fayette County. Most of the rain has exited Shelby County. All of the rain has exited Tipton County. Bulk of the rain now in southern and southeastern Fayette County, basically south of 64. There is some moderate Holly Springs right now, probably some gusty winds, probably 30 to 40 mile per hour winds potential in Holly Springs. There is one cell just to the of 55 and just north of 69. Nothing to be concerned about in DeSoto County. There are some cells basically from Independence down to Senatobia, and those are moving to the east, and some cells down in Panola County. But for the most part, most of the MWN area is in the clear now, thankfully. The areas we're concerned with are Fayette and Marshall County at the moment. The entire area still is under severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. Have not seen any indication that the Weather Service is going to pull that watch anytime soon. They are focused on the warnings right now. The main line that is coming through, there is nothing else behind. I'm going to switch to a different radar. So this is a composite, and in the center of the screen, you can just make out Memphis that is moving. All of the weather is moving into Fayette County, northern Marshall County. Cells start to develop across Tate County to the southeast. There is a little bit light returns, but across eastern Arkansas, but that is really nothing falling, nothing hitting the ground. There are some stronger cells moving to the West Helena area, eventually moving to Greenville and Greenwood in the next little bit. But and there are some cells developing basically east of Searcy over to Russellville, I believe that is. Let me take a look here. Put it on long range. Yeah, so there are storms now going through Little Rock and along I-40 all the way over towards Conway, Arkansas, if you're familiar with that. So basically along and south of I-40 in Arkansas, and this is all pushing to the south and southeast. But Forest City, basically south of Marianna, is where the action is over in Arkansas, and this is all moving out of the area. Again, severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 7 p.m. Theo, what
Yeah, thanks. It looks like Joyner got hit pretty hard, as we were saying. Another report of a tree on a trailer. And then another report, Joyner as well, is that the Dollar General there took pretty significant damage. Don't know the extent of that. And then in Millington, Tennessee, there was a 3-foot wide tree that has multiple limbs down. And then many roads are impassable in places such as Mark's Tree and parts of Turl. So, yep, power lines down and trees down. So, probably not a good idea to get out and about tonight. Just stay at home and wait for authorities to clear everything out.
yeah, that's
So a
good
couple of
advice.
things. Yeah, really good advice. Couple things to think about if you are listening to this and your power is out. Perhaps you've got cell phone coverage still and able to pull us up on YouTube on your phone. If the power is out, it's time to start thinking about those power or the conservation tips for those things in your home. So remember that if you can keep those freezers and refrigerators closed as much as possible, do that. It's probably a little too early to be talking about generators too much, but we're going to get to a point it might be pretty warm tomorrow and you want to power up the air conditioning unit or something like that. Just be super careful with those. Make sure that those are only being used outdoors so you don't have carbon monoxide issues inside your home. We're not going to have to worry about heating issues, but if you've got a gas stove, hey, it's time to have a little cookout there and have your dinner off the gas stove tonight. I think if you've got any any
Outside.
appliances and electronics, yeah, right. If you've got any appliances or electronics that you want to avoid getting surges from, remember when power starts coming back on, It may come on and then go off again as they work to restore different areas and pull others online. Those that can result in electrical surges. So if there's appliances or electronics that you do not want to get surged, if they haven't already, then you want to go ahead and disconnect those to make sure that they don't get those surges. But just keep those things in mind as we start heading deeper into this for those without power, and hopefully you've got friends or family around in the area that might be able to help you out, because we are looking tomorrow at, even though it's going to be a little less humid, it's still going to get up to about 92 degrees tomorrow afternoon, and it is muggy overnight tonight, all night long as well. So it's going to be pretty sticky in the house tonight.
Checking out what the Weather Service is saying. They're just kind of giving an update. And Eric, if you don't mind taking a look at that.
Yep, I do have it right here.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just kind of giving an overview of some additional storms that are kind of firing up in southeast Missouri. There are some areas to our north that did not get storms already, and so they are still quite unstable well to our north. I don't have not looked at the latest high resolution models here in the last couple of hours, but we've been worked over pretty good here. Our instability has been sapped by these storms that have come through, and so if anything were to make it this far south, which I kind of doubt, it is not going to be anything like what we just had. I think the concern is going to be for areas well to our north.
Yeah, so I've got that pulled up on the regional radar, and you can see those cells starting to develop in the Missouri Boot Heel. That should stay well north of us, probably go through Dyersburg and far northwestern Tennessee, but not expected to move into the MWN area, into the Memphis metro. So that is it's probably good news there. We do have a report saying trees are down along 72 in northern Marshall County now. Take a look at that. So northern Marshall County. On Highway 72, that's going to be the Sladen area, as well as Mount Pleasant. So if you're in those areas, take care, because there is Highway 72 in northern Marshall County. Just don't go out looking for damage, but there is potential for damage along those areas. Again, Highway 72 in northern Marshall County. Some trees reported down there.
Hey, I'm also seeing that as for power outages outside of Shelby County, there are about 12,000 customers in Tipton County on Southwest Tennessee Electric that are without power, 12,000 in the Tipton County area. And for those wondering about Bank Plus Amphitheater, as of about 20 or 30 minutes ago, they were still in the midst of a lightning alert and are asking people to remain in shelter until they send the all clear. They will do that on their social media feeds as to when it's safe. And it does look like that's going to, provided they have power, which I think that they probably do, that concert tonight should go on. I don't have the radar right in front of me, but I'm assuming they're just about cleared out down in South Haven there.
Yeah, there's
just light rain.
There's some light rain moving across DeSoto County, but that's basically light to moderate rain along along 269, and that's going to be headed towards Byhalia and Cockrum, but pretty light rain east 5 for Snowden Grove, that area, Bank Plus Theater, Amphitheater. Current look at the MLGNW outage map, over 118, almost 119,000 customers without power. Again, most of that in north and northeast of the 240 loop, so Bartlett, Cordova, Germantown, up 40, and 70 up towards Lakeland and Arlington. And we do have a report from Fayette County that they're reporting down trees and power lines and roadways and on homes. And they're saying it's all across the county. So if you're in Fayette County, be aware that there are down trees, power lines on houses, roads, you name it, across most of Fayette County. Take a look at that.
where we stand on the warning situation. Let's take another, if you don't mind, let's take a quick look at the
Yeah.
areas under warning
So
right
the
now.
areas under warning right now are basically along Highway 78 in Marshall County, so northern Marshall County, as well as eastern and southeastern Fayette County, including Moscow, Grand Junction, Sladen, Mount Pleasant. Most of that has actually pushed out of the warning. Well, most of that has pushed out of northern Marshall County. There is some moderate to heavy rain, Moscow to Grand Junction, southeastern Fayette County, but it looks like a lot of the stronger winds have now pushed into Hardeman County as well as Tippah and Benton County, or Benton County rather.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. And that warning goes till when for Southeast Fayette
So
County?
that is until 8
Till 8?
p.m., yes.
Okay. All right, good.
And it is moving to the southeast at 75 miles per hour, so that is thankfully moving out of the area. We got a question. What were the high winds recorded at?
Yeah, well, I think from the official observer at Memphis International was 53 miles an hour. We also had measured reports from areas outside of the few airports that are around that measure those. We had 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. Particularly, I saw those in the Bartlett area over towards Lakeland, where those strongest winds were observed.
It looks like we've got trees blocking the road on Memphis Arlington Road. Sent that out. And another Theo, are you around? Do you see any reports on social media?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I just got one in. This is an unofficial report. Apparently, from a storm chaser, measured approximately 90-mile-an-hour winds in Millington. But I mean, I believe it. There's a video that just came in, and a lot of the roofs are off in the shopping center. So
Holy
it's
cow.
pretty crazy.
There were some really strong winds that went through Millington, so I would believe it. And it basically went right over the Millington Airport and into
Yep.
Arlington area.
So I think our plan, guys, is we got these warnings that go until 8 o'clock. So we're going to stick with this another 15 minutes for those that are still in the warnings off to our east. And then I think for those of you who are listening, we're going to probably cut it off there for the evening, and we can regather and make sure that we're getting good information out on social media as well as we go into later on tonight and into tomorrow. So we'll continue here until those warnings are expired, and then switch over back to the social media side from that point.
That sounds good. And if you like what we do, if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/MemphisWeather1. We would greatly appreciate any and all support if you want to provide that. It's pretty minimal, less than a cup of coffee a month. And that is greatly appreciated. It's not going towards the intern fund or anything like that. It's going back into the company to support what we do here.
You can vouch for that, right, Theo? It's not going into the intern fund.
Yeah, I get paid through experience, though, right?
There you go. Well, and we're having one tonight. How about that?
So again, Memphis Weather 1 on Patreon, patreon.com/MemphisWeather1. If you want to support us, we would greatly appreciate it. So we still have a severe thunderstorm watch for the entire area until 12 a.m. Weather Service not indicating any change on that watch, with the fact that there are some some additional now forming in far southeastern Missouri and eventually going to move into northwestern Tennessee. I would expect them to pull some of the watches out, some of the counties out of the watch rather at some point, but they have not indicated that they're going to do that anytime soon. But this is the main line that is moving through now. The front is actually back those cells that you see in the Missouri Boot Hill, they're forming along the front. There is a cold front pushing through. That's what reason for all this basically is there's a cold front pushing through, and it's not that cold to be quite honest, but it is lower humidity and some northerly winds. But tomorrow it'll probably be back into the 90s. So hot and muggy tomorrow, along with no power, is not a good deal. Not something to look
Yeah, it's
forward
going to
to.
make for an uncomfortable part of the week here to come up. And as we get later in the week, it will only get hotter. It just did the forecast a little while ago for the week ahead, and I've got 100 degrees for a high on Thursday and 101 on Friday, and it probably will be pretty close to that upper 90s again on Saturday before we get the next front in here on Sunday. So we get a slight break, reprieve from the humidity, just a little bit. For the next couple of days, won't feel quite as bad, but then we're going to warm back up pretty quickly. So, and I'm gonna take a look here while you're moving on at kind of what we think those storms might be doing in southeast Missouri, and make sure they're not headed this direction. I don't think so, but
Sure. I'm going to take a look at the regional radar, and you can see the main action moving through Memphis Central and eventually northeastern Mississippi. Some strong cells moving through east central as well as eastern or western rather Mississippi, and through the Little Rock area and back up toward basically along I-40 towards Fort Smith, and those are all moving to the southeast. And you can see that little bit of area across the Missouri Boot Hill firing up now, and that hopefully is going to stay to our north. That's what we're thinking at least.
yep, just checking out that the latest model runs here, and it looks like that's kind of the tail end of where additional storms are going to be forming and moving across the state of Kentucky during the late evening and into the overnight hours. It's kind of just the very tail end of that in southeast Missouri. Those should stay up in northwest Tennessee and likely actually just kind of fall apart within a couple hours after sunset here. So that storm system looks to head more into the central Kentucky down towards the Nashville area, probably around midnight there.
So what you're saying is we're pretty much in the clear after this move.
Yes, I do think that we've got the majority of it behind us at this point. So that's good news. At least we're not having to worry about what's coming behind us, as a lot of people have lost the ability, or at least part of their ability, easiest ability to get access to that information. So
Yeah, currently
it does look like
116,000 MLGNW customers without power. So a lot of restoration efforts will continue overnight. A lot of people without power, mainly in the Bartlett, Germantown, Lakeland, and Arlington areas, and in as well as in the Millington area. Most northern and central Shelby County, as well as portions of eastern Shelby County. Even some decent power outages in Collierville. In this block here, there's over 1,000 in the Collierville area. Switch it back to the regional radar, and thankfully this is the last little bit of it. And so the reason we're staying on is because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning still for northern Marshall County, as well as eastern and southeastern Fayette County until 8 p.m. So it's in effect for another 8 minutes. This is all moving to the southeast. You can see the bulk of this is actually now in Benton County, as well as Hardeman County. Most of Fayette County is in the clear. Some moderate rain in Grand Junction now. Some light rain across Moscow. Light rain in Sladen. Some little cells developing along Highway 78 in Byhalia. Some additional cells basically southwest of Holly Springs towards the Waterford Highway 4 area. And those are moving all to the southeast. continue to watch all of this move out of the metro. Again, Shelby County, all of Tipton County, all of Crittenden County, all of DeSoto, and most of Tunica County is in the clear. It looks like there is a little bit of light rain falling, light to moderate rain falling south of Tunica, some light to moderate rain in eastern Tate County, and moderate to heavy rain for portions of Marshall County and portions of southeastern Fayette County. This warning is still in effect until 8 p.m., and we'll continue to, like I said, watch this move out of the area. And again, most of the area is in the clear, but we still have the severe thunderstorm watch until midnight tonight, and we're not expecting any additional development behind this, with the exception of far northwestern Tennessee and the Missouri Boot Hill. You can see these cells starting to fire up along the cold front well north of us, and that'll go probably through the Dyersburg, Jackson, and likely over to Nashville over the next little bit.
So the warning goes until 8, but we're pretty sure that the strong winds that were associated with those storms that are moving out have already cleared our counties. Is that correct? Out of Fayette County?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
All the stronger winds have moved to county and are moving into Hardeman and Benton County and Tippah County.
Great. So there should be no reason why that warning would not expire on time then at 8 o'clock here in just a little bit. So that's good.
That's correct.
Good. Just looking to see if there was any other pictures or other reports that are coming in. Here's a just see if I can pull this video up from Millington Huey's. Looks like it might be a roof off. Yes. Right next to the Hueys in Millington, there's a building there that has completely lost its what appears to be a metal roof. So if you're familiar with where that is, that's I think that's right on 51, right in the middle of Millington there. So we'd seen
See that?
reports.
Let me see if I can pull that up for you.
And I-40 exit 20 is the other area I'm seeing quite a bit of damage. On metal awnings that are torn up. I've gotten some firsthand reports of areas up near where I am up here in the north side of Bartlett. Lots of trees, lots of tree damage, some trees uprooted. We've got reports also that some of the power, so the traffic lights at major intersections, some of those lights, the actual physical infrastructure has been ripped off of the wires. And so those traffic lights won't be working until they can replace some of the infrastructure that actually powers those lights. So it's not just power issues we're dealing with. It is also going to be infrastructure that has to be put back in place to receive that power. So I'm sure MWN will be working first on besides the areas that you typically hear about where there are police and fire stations, hospitals, those that are critical to the infrastructure, getting those powered up. And then they will go next to areas where they can restore power to substations and get a bunch of people on at a time that way. But there are going to be a lot of places where they're having to restring wire and maybe put up some poles and all of that as well. This is going to take a significant period of time. I expect that, we, having been through a couple of these types of storms here in Memphis over the last couple dozen years or so that I've been here, it's pretty likely that we're still going to have people without power a week from now, and it could take longer than that.
So I've on my laptop, I do have the Millington radar scan that it received at 6:48, and there are some very strong winds actually moving right into and process where we heard that report of 90-mile-per-hour winds. It looks like it could be 90, even even higher with that over the Millington radar, as well as the Millington Airport, and just before 7 p.m. So that was went out, and again, really strong. Moved right over the radar at that time.
I'm surprised we didn't see a higher gust on the official observation there in Millington. Although at 6:50 they did report a gust of 53. So it's possible that off hour somewhere in there that it went higher than that at the airport. But that was their once an hour report at 6:50 of west gusting to 53 miles per hour, and the rain had just started at that point.
That was that was 6:50, and we're coming up on the top of the hour now. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see if they had any stronger winds reported between that time and now. Quick.
So, yep. And do have a question about the Millington radar. Yes, it is down, and technicians have been dispatched to see, to troubleshoot it, triage it, find out exactly what's going on. But we're getting close to the top of the hour here. So, Richard, do you have anything else to add before I kind of wrap this up?
Just the fact that it looks like most of the area, if not all of the area, and we won't see any additional development behind this. We are still under a severe thunderstorm watch night, but most clear, and looks like that will continue through the overnight.
Yeah, so as we hit the top of the 8 o'clock hour here, thankfully, there's still a little bit of light coming in behind this storm system, and we're not dealing with this going till 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. So in the last hour and a half, we have had a significant summer storm move across Shelby County, brought measured wind gusts at least as high as 70 miles an hour and probably higher than that in some areas. Over 116,000 MLGW customers without power. That equates to well over 250,000 people just within Shelby County. It's going to be a long road to the recovery from this. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be handled, replaced, repaired, a lot of power to restore. Fortunately, I have seen, at least as far as this early in the game, I have seen no reported injuries or worse. So that is certainly the best part of this, if that turns out to be the case. We are going to wrap up the coverage here. We've been with you for an hour and a half as these storms move through. We appreciate all of you who have tuned in tonight. We wish you well. I hope that if you are without power, that it comes on very soon. If you do have power, reach out to your neighbors that don't. Find out who needs a little assistance. And that's what Memphis is good for, is neighbors helping neighbors. Let that Southern hospitality be shown to all of those around you who are in need. We will continue to bring you coverage on social media. We are at MemphisWeather.net on Facebook and Twitter. If you have resources that might be helpful to people who may be without power or have lost, maybe a tree has fallen on their house or something like that, feel free to tag us in that stuff. We'll be happy to send that back out and get it out to those who need that information. The severe thunderstorm watch does go until midnight. I expect that we will see that canceled for the Memphis Metro before very long, because I don't see anything behind this system that is moving in. It will be a muggy night. We're looking for low temperatures tonight in the mid 70s. Actually, it's actually down around 70 now with the rain that has moved through, but it'll probably stick right around where it is all night long. We're going to be back up into the low 90s with a lot of sunshine tomorrow. It'll be less humid, but you will have the sunshine beating down. It's going to be another warm day and warm couple of days. Make sure that if you don't have power, that you're being careful about utilizing food from the refrigerator that has been properly cooled for a while here, and then be careful about that as well. If you've got anything that you need from us, feel free to hit us up at MemphisWeather.net on Twitter or Facebook, and we will be happy to help out how we can. And of course, we've got our Patreon as well. So if you were grateful for the coverage that we've been able to provide through the evening and for the last several years, in fact, we would appreciate you checking out the virtual tip jar. Certainly not an obligation, but we appreciate it if you do. And it's Memphis Weather 1 on Patreon.com. So with that, we're going to wrap up our coverage for tonight. We appreciate all that have joined us, and everybody, please stay safe. Good luck to all of you who are looking for the power to come back on. We are in your boat as well. I'll get my power back whenever that happens, and we'll manage it through until then. So thanks a lot to everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.